decided to start a new career. You decided to go ahead and open up your new business. You decided to join a new profession, get more education, and hit the ground running and start something totally new. Why? Why did you do that? If you did it because you felt a burning passion that you wanted to go ahead and do something that was going to be totally different, then hopefully you've prepared yourself to be in that position. I just finished a video on how to go ahead, the 5 steps you need to do before you went ahead and switch careers. What happens if you just opened up a brand new business? Let's go ahead and talk about that. Number 1, when you open up a brand new business, you want to let everybody know in your social network and ask everybody that you possibly can know to tell other people, hey, this is what I've just done. Drop by my store, buy something. Please support me. Please let your friends know. If I can be of any help, let me know. Here I am. When you do that, suddenly what will happen is, if people like you, they'll go ahead and tell their friends about you, and you'll start to get more business. Every person that comes into your shop, I want you to realize that they are not just a customer. They are gold. I've talked before about the lifetime value of the customer. Let's go ahead and quantify that real quick. If you have a person that comes into your store once a week and they spend $50 a week, over the course of a year, they will have spent 50 times 50 weeks, $2,500. If they're going to do that for 10 years, their value is $25,000 that you've just accrued by having them come in. If your profit margin is 10%, what you have is, it costs you, if you spend anything less than $2,500 to accrue that customer, you're doing well. And so when you start looking at what it would cost for you to gain a new customer, what the lifetime value of that customer is, you want that person to come back again and again and again. And so if you're starting a new business, understand what it's going to cost to go ahead and bring in a new customer, and what do you want to do to keep them there. Next, I want to talk about bundling. What's a bundle? If I say, I'm going to go ahead and sell you this piece of paper for $1, okay, that's great. What is my cost to go ahead and sell that person that piece of paper? But if I said, you know, I've got 3 pieces of paper here, and I'm going to go ahead and sell you all 3 pieces of paper, and the normal cost is $3, but I'm going to let you have all 3 pieces of paper for $2. What have you just done? What you've just done is you've gotten $2 instead of $1. Now, as long as you know what your costs are, it's much better to have a bundle than to have a single sale. It's much better to have people spend more than to spend less. It's much better to have people think that they're gaining a value than think that they're a little bit high priced. Because once they feel that, wow, they're gaining a value, they'll come back again and again and again. Now, you always want to justify and define what the value is. And so if you have those 2 pieces of paper that you're selling for $1 each, and you give them 3 for $2, give them a reason why. Because otherwise they're going to say, oh, let's see, that's 66 cents per page. I'll go ahead and just give you 66 cents for this page. You'll take it, won't you? You want to give them a reason, a special sale, special promotion, whatever it is. Otherwise people feel slightly ripped off if you don't give them a reason why you're giving them a discount. Next, you want to go ahead and develop an email list. And I've talked about this before. Your email list is gold if, and only if, you go ahead and use this wisely. What do I mean by that? One of the things that you want to do is, when you get an email list, you want to go ahead and, number 1, ask for permission, and number 2, on every email you want to have an opt-out, an opt-in and opt-out, so a person can opt out at any time. Why would you do that? Have you ever gotten an annoying crank email calls or annoying crank emails, and you can't figure out a way to have people stop sending them to you, you don't want to tick somebody off. You want to give them just enough information so that they want to go ahead and keep on receiving your emails. You don't want to go ahead and send these out every day unless you have something of value every day, but always have an opt-out so the person doesn't say, wow, I wish this person would stop bothering me and leave me alone. When you start giving people value, when you start making them feel that they're part of your family, part of your support group, part of your fan club, part of your social media, that's when they start feeling that, wow, this person is just like me, I want to support them. If the only reason that someone comes to your store is because of the price, sooner or later, someone else is going to come along with something cheaper and they're going to stop coming to your store. So always give them a reason to do that. Be charming. Know their name. I used to own a dry cleaner, and I worked very hard at, if someone had dropped off their clothes, when I saw them coming to pick them up, I would go ahead and turn the turntable around until I had their clothes, and I'd have it out and waiting for them. And when they came in the door, I'd say, hello, Mr. Bond, how are you doing today? Hello, Mr. Atwater, how are you doing today? And I always tried to greet them by name, have their items ready for them so that they didn't have to wait for me and that they felt special. When I did that, guess what? They wanted to come back. If I'd say, okay, you can't get this until you go ahead and show me your ticket, that's not too cool. You want to go ahead and have people feel that you know who they are and that they're special. When they do that, they'll come back to see you again and again, because most people would rather have high touch rather than high tech. If you can combine the two and give people excellent service and give them a little bit of personalized custom acknowledgement, what will happen is they will start feeling loyalty to you. And don't be afraid to ask people, tell everybody that you know, if you would, to go ahead and come on back. And one of the most interesting phrases I've ever heard is, when you ask somebody for something, tell them that there's no obligation for them to do that. You're totally free to not tell any of your friends about me, but I'd really appreciate it if you'd mention me. When you say you're totally free to, studies have shown that you get about 50% more in sales than if you don't say that. Why? Because you're giving them the choice, and by giving them the choice, suddenly they don't have to fight you on that, and now they're just concentrating on, does your deal offer them value, and they move forward.